That's Tank Top Mike. That's Marky Mark, and I'm the Prince, and this is the NAO show. Welcome to the end of the regular season. I'm sorry to let you all know that Dylan is still in the playoffs. I don't know why. Mark, would you just take my money to get him out of the playoffs, please? I've Venmo'd you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. If he's not going to be kicked out of the playoffs, can you send it back to me, please? Also, I'd like to put in a formal request for me to just give my players to A-Bomb and Mike. Because none of us wants to see Ian and Silly Dilly in the championship. I said it. I'm speaking for the whole rest of the league. No one wants to see that.
I think Justin Jefferson, I could squeeze him in. I could probably bench, somebody. DJ Moore is probably injured, so I'll bench an injured DJ Moore to put in Jefferson. That's it though.
That's a pretty stout move, He's trying to stick Justin Jefferson in there, trying to find room for a guy,
He's a solid flex play for me right now.
Yeah, okay. All right, fucking Ian.
I'll give you Kittle. But you seem to like that top five tight end you got in Mike Gesicki, but I can give you Kittle, and he's been on a roll. We'll expand the rosters for A-Bomb and Mike to 35.
Yeah.
Woo!
We'll let him have a little supplemental draft, and that should be fair. I think that's fair.
That should be definitely fair.
Yeah.
Let's put it to a vote right after this show. Mm-hmm. I bet more people vote for yes than they do for no.
That's probably
right.
Mm-hmm.
Ian, I will literally put Sleeper on sleep for the whole off season. I can't even think about that right now. Mike, you just got to win this week.
I'm certainly going to try. I got some news I'm watching, but we'll see.
All right.
As long as Silly doesn't suck me down into a shithole again this week.
All right, Marky Mark. Now that we're completely off the rails, let's get back on it. What do you got for us this week?
This train back on the track. Let's go down the scores here. So I'm going to start with the games with the playoff implications. We got Tank Top Mike 155, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air 110. So Mike, you got the high score this week. Hope you can keep that going into next week. Unfortunately, it knocked our buddy Shawn out. One of you had to stay and one of you had to go. Well, I guess you both could have stayed, couldn't you?
Yeah, we both could have.
But Shawn had to go, unfortunately. Start us off on this. You guys just talk amongst yourself. It's your matchup. Tell us what you were going through. How did you feel?
I went into the Monday night game losing, which, I had the projections to win, but, I know. But
things happen.
Like I said, going into the night game with a lead on your side is ideal. That's the only, that's all you could ask for, really. And I like James Conner is really all I have.
I'm glad I'm not alone in that. Everybody thinks I'm a doddering old fool, but I really do like James Conner. I started Dynasty last night. I love that 29 points.
Yeah, that one-handed catch he had over the middle in the red zone, like, ooh, that was something. But it was I'm glad that at least I won and I got the high score because that's pretty cool.
Yep.
I'm glad that it ended up not being so close because I would have been real mad at myself for not starting Gordon, but I was trying to make a play for the ceiling, and Jeff Wilson was supposed to get all the carries, and I forgot about Deebo Samuel also being a running back, so that hurt me. But I had other guys on my bench that did outscore the people I started, but I was never going to start Hooper regardless of the situation. And Guyton, it was not even he had only gotten 10 points, more than 10 points one other game, and it was on a giant freaking one catch type deal. So it was still kind of unproven, but I wouldn't have changed anything in my lineup besides Jeff Wilson and Gordon.
I like Jeff Wilson going into that, and it's hard to stay ahead of these injuries, man. I mean, look at the people who sat Cook this week across
Ian.
many leagues, not just in our league, but
Ian did it.
it's hard to stay ahead of them sometimes. And I thought Debo was coming back kind of quick to have a groin injury, and that's a tough thing to you don't sit out 1 week and come back and be the Debo of old, but he kind of did, and just so Wilson didn't really he had the touches, he didn't do much with them, unfortunately. So.
Yeah.
I was with you on the Wilson start, but a lot of that was thinking that Debo was still going to be out, or maybe limited, or come in and re-aggravate the injury. But yeah, just it didn't pan out that way at all.
Something that did pan out for me, which was really nice until about fourth quarter, was starting both CEH and
Yeah.
Darrell Williams. They both were going crazy, and then it got to garbage time, and they sat them both, and I was just like, "Come on!"
Mhm.
And then Derek Gore comes in and gets a 43-something yard touchdown, and I was like, any one of my guys could have really enjoyed having that.
I actually thought
Yeah.
it was. I looked up and I was watching that game. And I looked up and I saw another guy running for like a huge touchdown, and I was like, "Man, which one is that? Like, it doesn't matter, but who is it?" And then they were like, "Derek Gore." I was like, "Oh, hell yeah, that's fantastic."
And in a closer game, those points don't go to him. You still would have been splitting them between your two guys. So that was a tough break that they just blew him out of the water, and Gore was in there because of it. So yeah, well, Shawn, I feel for you. I'm with you going into our next score here. Start us off with a little swing low. Sweet chariot. That's how I'm feeling right now. Yeah, we got Orlando City FC 150. Tough Luck Kid 126. So here we go. Freaking A-Bomb comes in at the last minute again, makes the playoffs, knocks me out of contention, and that's the end of that.
Yeah. 2 years in
That
a row
was
for Aaron to do
Go
this.
ahead, Mike.
It's 2 years in a row that Aaron did this exact same thing. I think maybe next year it'd be a little easier on him to just, stay up there the whole time. We know he's going to make his way in there, so, be a little easier on all our hearts. But
Yeah.
but the Bills did it for him. Josh Allen looked pretty good. Although he has like a foot sprain now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Not a great time to sprain your foot.
I first heard turf toe, and then I heard foot sprain. I don't know if they've actually come out and really said exactly what it is, but he was definitely limping in that game. Shawn and I watched together, and he was limping around pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It
I'd like
looked
to
like
trade
it
him Jimmy
landed on
Garoppolo.
his foot, and it like extended it more than it was supposed to. So like maybe the top of his foot got pulled really, really good, because he like sat on his foot. The thing about that game, I was gonna comment on this game. The first half of that game, Tampa Bay was owning the Buffalo Bills. It was like I thought the game was gonna be a blowout, and then Tampa goes into the freaking locker room, comes out at halftime, he's like, "Oh, we're gonna win," and then lets them right back in the freaking game. It's at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and they're playing to tie the game. I was like, "What are we doing? Let's go! Let's put these guys out of commission." I was like, he is still Josh Allen. That is still the Buffalo Bills. Like, if you are up on them by 40, you don't take your foot off the gas. You do it. You buy 60. Sorry. Big feelings this week. Big feelings.
They do. They did what a lot of teams do. They take a few steps back on defense, keep everything in front of them, and it ends up running the clock. And they're just trying to get out of there with a W. And of course, a lot of times it comes back to haunt you because next thing you know, you're not winning by so much anymore. So I don't know why these teams do that. I do know why. They don't want you to score, a 71-yard touchdown in 26 seconds and so it's clock management kind of thing. But yeah, they slept off a little bit and started letting them get a lot of underneath stuff and they got back into the game.
I got a question for you there, Marky Mark. How you feeling
Yeah.
about those first round picks you had?
First round picks. Talking
Yeah,
about Chase. Are you talking about last year's picks or talking about
Chase
Chase and
and
Javante?
Williams.
I mean, yeah, look at what they did in my lineup here. Chase had fallen off a little bit. He was killing it earlier and had about a I don't know four game stretch that wasn't too good, but showed what he could do. He got back in there and did well. And yeah, Javante put two together in a row. So yeah, I'm liking that, man. That's something to be looking forward to in the future.
How do you feel about Melvin Gordon saying he wants to stay in Denver? Because I think every Javante owner wants Melvin Gordon as far away from Denver as he can
Yeah,
get.
that him coming back in and having that game was the worst thing for Javante
Mm,
managers because if he finishes out the season injured, he's probably going to another team. But yeah, he comes back and has that kind of game. I told Shawn as I was like, it seems like Denver is just trying to help him. Like, he won't get a good contract somewhere else if he does go somewhere else. If he's sitting on the bench injured, and I kind of felt like he was rushing back. A hip's not an easy thing to come back from either. And he comes back in there and he hurt his hand, goes out and still come back in. It's like they're giving him every chance to show what he's got. And yeah, they might say, well, hey, man, he's playing pretty well. He's playing hard for us, so we'll keep him on. So yeah, that would be horrible. But I don't know. Gordon is getting older, and those injuries are going to be harder to come back from if going into next season if he's still there. So I'd love to see him go. Tell you the truth.
Well, on A-Bomb's side, his guys that he got, Adams, Evans, not really Tyreek Hill, but Andrews, they all carried him this week, so that's got to make him feel good. He went out and bought Evans at max value, if you ask me, and Evans had a good day, almost 100 yards, touchdown, 6 catches.
mm,
Yeah, and Allen came back. Allen wasn't looking good early in the game, but he came back and had a big day. And then I couldn't hold serve with Kyler, who puts up games like that, but certainly didn't do it last night. So yeah, that was a big difference right there. The quarterback was. If you look down our scores, I had the goose egg with McLaurin get knocked out with a concussion. But yeah, if you look down through, it's sort of like I held serve until you look at the quarterback, and then it's like, yeah, that's where I got hurt. So could have been different if Kyler could have had a bigger game there. So
it looked like he was about to. He started out like he was going to have a monster game, and then
I know it. Yeah. Well, and then, at that point, it was going to be tough for me to do it anyway because he still had someone going last night. But
mm,
Michelle he didn't do a lot. So yeah, a big Kyler game would have had me closer, and maybe a McLaurin, even if he gets say 6, 7 points, could have been right there in it. But was not meant to be, man. I made a big run up the standings myself. I tried to A bomb it, but I got A bombed by A bomb. So all right, let's move on. Moving on. Let's go to the Pooh Crew 121, Swamp Dick 99. So Ian keeps first place by points there. And Ricky, poor guy, man, they lost Eric Henry and his season kind of went in the tank. And he's down there in the Miyagi Bowl. So you guys get us going on this one. Tell us what you think.
I think I feel really bad for Swamp Dick because it was at the beginning of the season, just thinking of the whole season and all together, he was in it. He was one of the best teams. He was making moves to strengthen his lineup, get some depth before having some bye weeks, and then it seems like all four wheels just fell off the cart all at the same time. he was relevant, and then he just wasn't. You know, and I think that's has to do with King Henry. I mean, when King Henry's putting up 25 points a game and you're starting at 25, like pretty much having 11 players on your team instead of 10, that's a significant loss.
I know sometimes we reference other fantasy leagues, and obviously I had Derrick Henry in the other league that we're all in, and I was first place. I was first overall for a minute, and here I am. I lost Derrick Henry. I'm barely in the playoffs. So, I mean, I get it. I know what he's going through. It sucks. I mean, like you said, you're basically starting out with a free 15, 20 points every single week.
Yeah.
And
that hides a lot of deficiencies in your lineup.
So, yeah, I do feel bad for Rick. I think, ending at, 7 losses in a row, it's not fun. But
yeah. Well, of course, he sold off some things and kind of put himself in an even worse position there. But yeah, he was. Shawn and I were talking about it on Sunday while we were watching ball that he was trying to make trades, and I think he talked to a bunch of us trying to. He kind of knew he needed a piece or two to keep it going and maybe put him over the top, and he was working hard on it. Then yeah, a couple of losses and no more Henry, and he just kind of went in the tank there. Just went into fire sale mode.
It actually makes that the Stephon Diggs trade a little bit better, I think, because if he had Diggs on his team, I'm not sure if that would have helped him significantly enough. And moving him at the end of the year might have been hard. Moving him in the middle of the year to a team that needed him. So now he's got Kyle Pitts. He's got a second-round pick and Marquez Callaway. I mean, he's not anything to get super excited about over, but he has potential. But he has one of the best tight ends upsides and a pick for a guy that may have been pretty hard to move when he was, 28, 29 years old.
And we know he's pretty active on draft day too. So,
Yep.
He's not going to go into this draft, not making any moves. So.
Yeah, you mentioned Callaway. He just needs a quarterback. I think that guy can be good. I like him a lot. I've kind of had my eye on him. Had him for a little while in another dynasty, traded him away, but I think he can be good with the right quarterback. So good. We'll see how that trade works out. It could still be something good for Ricky there. So.
And this offseason is going to be crazy with quarterback moving. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. There's definitely going to be some movement. That's for sure. Some big names. So that'll be good to see. All right, let's move on to our next score.
One thing about Ian, I just want to point out, he benched Derek. He benched Cook. He benched Dalvin Cook. Just that's it. That's all I had.
He benched Dalvin Cook. Yeah.
You idiot! All right, continue.
I'd love to give him hell about it, but he was not alone.
I would. If the news comes out that Cook is playing, you put him in. End of story.
You start your starters.
Yeah,
start your studs.
There was, you put him in.
Got to say, I was skeptical too, though. I really was. But I was smart enough to take Madison out of my lineup in a redraft league. So I was like, oh, if Cook's starting, I'm not starting Madison, and that worked out well for me. So, all right, here we go. Let's go. Yeah, Silly Dilly, 136. The underdogs 90. So Dylan gets, what was that? Was that his ninth win, right? Ninth win. We said he needed 8, and he got 9. And the underdogs were a little disappointing down the stretch here with a low score 2 weeks in a row. They were doing that every other week thing, and they decided to go 2 weeks in a row with a high score so they could keep me out of it, and then 2 weeks in a row with a low score because they had to even it out somehow. I bet if you went through, it's probably 7 and 7, 7 good scores and 7 low scores. But they are entrenched now in the bottom 4, and Silly Dilly is in the playoffs. Shawn, why don't you start us off, man? Because you were talking about Silly Dilly earlier. What was it you were saying about him?
Well, I really, really love the guy. Now that Silly Dilly is a bandwagon Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, I wanted to show you a real player from our team that you may not know anymore because he doesn't play, but this is John Lynch. He's actually a really good player that used to play on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You can't put him on your team, even though you tried to put everybody else from my team on your fantasy roster. Although it's helping. Shit, I can't hate you for that.
Yeah, that Brady and Uncle Lenny has been carrying them on pretty well.
Well, this
And
is
finally,
the shithole I was talking about earlier, where it's still every week. Every week you play silly, and it's this. So I'm hoping to avoid it, I guess. But I do feel
Yeah.
bad for
I
the
don't know
underdogs.
what it is. I don't know what it is about playing Dylan, but if you play Dylan, you can just pretty much assume that your team's going to underproject by at least 15 points. You know?
At this point, like I'm not even mad anymore. It's actually pretty incredible what went on to get him into the playoffs. Like it's actually, in a way, it's pretty cool, but less cool.
In a very, very small way.
I mean, he didn't even score 1,600 points this year. Not that's
And he
incredible.
was third.
Yeah, that's incredible. Anyway, I feel bad for the underdogs because not only did they get sucked into the shithole, they started a whole bunch of Cowboys players, and I'm not gonna lie, Dak doesn't look great right now. Dak doesn't look great. The offense looks weird. So
Definitely weird.
I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, kind of getting off the subject, but you brought it up. It seemed like early in the season that they were game planning for every team they played, and it was just everything was working and rolling. And now it just looks like they're out there just seems like they're doing the same old crap every week, and it's not working. I don't know what happened there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Kellen Moore was everybody he was a hot name, talking about he could be a head coach, and all of a sudden, man, it's just I don't know what they're doing right now. And Dak does not look good. You're right. So
It looks like a bunch of clowns jumping out of a clown car, running around the car trying to get back in, but people keep on jumping out. It just cluster.
They get the Giants this week though, so
yeah, and who knew it was going to be our defense that carried us and kept us relevant and in the playoff hunt. So all right, well we won't go down that rabbit hole. Nobody wants to hear about the Cowboys. we we get enough hate without talking about them for 10 minutes on our show. So we'll move on to the last score, which is Goofy Jace 126, FNG 72. So both these guys end up in the bottom four. Goofy Jace a little too late with a win. He needed really one more win at least before going into this one. It's nice to see FNG last game of the season when you need a win, but he just didn't quite get enough to make this one relevant for him at all. So not much to say about this one, but tell me what you see here, guys.
I think at the beginning of the season, Goofy was being held up by Aaron Jones still being kind of the lead back and AJ Dillon kind of not being that one beast just yet, but we all kind of thought he could be. And then through the season, Mike Williams fell off a cliff. Patterson got hurt, and he was giving him good points. So it was just rough to see the team that was holding him up at the beginning of the season they just left. They just said, I want the first ticket out of town, and I don't care what it's on. And whoop, out.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't feel
he's in the bottom four.
I don't feel too bad for Goofy considering what his first round pick situation looks like next year.
True.
I mean, he's got
Both these teams have stupid levels of first round picks next year.
Goofy has his own. He's got Ricky's, and he's got mine next year. So he's got. I mean, his and Ricky's next year are top four, obviously. So, I mean, he could walk into it with the 1 and the 2, next year. So, sorry, Goofy, but
we tried to tell him last year why in the hell are you going to trade away Aaron Rodgers like that? And I bet he wishes he still had him after what happened with Russell Wilson this year. And, Matt Ryan just really didn't do much. And well, he had Jalen Hurts. Um, Hurts did a lot for him earlier in the season, but then he kind of let him down here lately since Philly started running the ball all of a sudden. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, if I'm goofy, I sure would have rather seen. I would rather traded away Wilson maybe and had Aaron Rodgers on there. Might have helped him out some.
Speaking of first round picks from last year's rookie draft, T Law put up a whopping 1.04 points, and he only threw the ball 40 times.
Oh my God, yeah. That was horrible. You remember seemed like every time we were watching the games together, every time we see the stats go up there, he had another interception. It's like, oh, he's up to 3. Oh, damn, he's got 4. No touchdowns, four interceptions. That's not good.
That's not great.
Going in the wrong direction. Yeah, maybe he'll see better days ahead, but man, that's who wants to even talk about Jacksonville? What a mess that is right now.
Golly.
Yeah, and he traded you Fields, and Fields is even looking better right now than Lawrence. So, man,
Yeah.
so
The other side of this matchup, I don't feel bad for F&G. I think he had a very successful season, to be honest with you, with what he was doing. So
The guys that he got in trades have turned out to be very, very good.
yeah,
I mean, Cooper was good. He's good flex play later down the road. And Godwin, he's a freaking wide receiver 1 right now. So good acquisitions of veterans for him.
and the other
With all
half
those
of the
first-round
top
picks.
4 picks. So yeah, he's looking pretty good. Nice season here, F&G.
yeah, I mean to finish up the season, getting those 2 players where he's going in the draft with all these picks like we're talking about, but he's kind of already got his number 1 and 2 wide receivers taken care of. He's got Lamar Jackson. We'll see. We got to see. He's got the injury right now. Been a little bit iffy. If he can get back to doing Lamar Jackson things here and carry the team, he might have a good one. Quarterback, two receivers, and going in with all those picks, he definitely could do a little something going into next year. And 3 wins, you called it, Shawn. He got the 3 wins, and that's pretty good with the roster he's got right now. So, yeah,
Hunter Renfro has to be the waiver wire
yeah,
pickup of the year.
there you go. And there's your flex or the guy that can play wide receiver 1 or 2. So, yeah, he's sitting pretty as
Wide
far as
receiver 12 right now in PPR.
I can hear. I'm gonna get ahead of the game here. I can hear Evan already that Hunter Renfro was drafted. He wasn't a waiver wire pickup.
Well,
I can hear him already. So,
Fine.
there you go.
Moving on. All right. That brings us to the last Mr. Miyagi ass waxing of the week, which goes to FNG. He's won several of them this year. Not as many as I thought he was going to win, so I'll give him a little credit for that as well. So I asked FNG today, hey, would you like to make a nice acceptance speech for the last Miyagi of the season? I'll tell you what he told me. Screw you guys. Call me when it's time to draft. So no acceptance speech today, but he's ready to draft. He's ready to roll into next season.
I bet he is. If I was him, I'd be doing a lot of research on who I'm going to draft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't even bother trying to trade those picks out either. I think they are firmly where they're going to be for the top 4.
Interesting. You don't think he's going to move any of those picks for guys, huh?
I don't think any of those 2 top 4 picks, unless it's a pretty hefty offer.
Between you and me and the fence post at work, we all got these little whiteboards in our cubicles, and his is a draft board. He's working on it. right now as we speak. He is.
He has polls on this whiteboard, and everybody just walking by just puts a little tick on who they would draft over the other person. And he's been doing it by mass ticking.
Yeah, he's ready. He is ready. This is when he gets to turn things around. Show us what he's got. So we'll see what happens. All right, guys. We want to get into the playoffs. The playoffs. You want to get into matchups for next week, or we got anything else? I think we're ready to go, aren't we?
It's too soon. I should be in the playoffs. Damn it. Thanks, Mike.
Well, I
Thanks,
am, so
Marky
let's talk
Mark.
about me some more.
Great. Let's get into it.
Tough break for you, man. That's for sure. All right, we're going to start off with our number 1 versus the number 4 seed. That would be Pooh Crew at number 1 versus Orlando City FC. Yeah, you know what? Aaron is a little drama queen, man. You know, he's gotta hover around the playoffs. Oh, I'm in it. Oh, I'm out. Oh, maybe I'll make it, maybe I won't. And then he comes in at the last minute. He's just a little drama queen, man. I'm about tired of that game. I'll tell you. You guys talk about it, man. Yeah, it is too soon, damn it. You guys talk about this one. I don't want
Marky
to talk
Mark,
about it. Should have
tell us
been me.
how you really feel.
Should have been me.
Golly.
Should have been me. Yeah.
Yeah, geez.
I gave him some congratulations today, and man, I'll tell you, he loves to take it down to the wire, doesn't he? Do you think he's got a chance this week?
He likes to hold it over everybody and just snatch it away
Yeah.
from you right at the last second.
To your point, though, Mark, about that it should have been you. I'm going to quote somebody here for you.
All right.
Then you should have done what I did and take care of business before the deadline.
Were you saying maybe I would have had a little bit better roster if I hadn't tripped for? Yeah, I made a contingency for the bottom 4. You probably shouldn't do that if you're a winner, right?
But you weren't at the time, so
No, I was.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this lineup. So the Pooh Crew, his lineup right now has Saquon Barkley in against Dallas, and he's projected 15 points. I think that's a tall order to get against a tough defense right now. And T. Higgins is kind of a dice roll, but I hate to say it. Other than that, some of these matchups are really good for Pooh Crew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Golly.
some ones, yeah. The only thing we can hope for about Ian is, as we've seen in the past few weeks, the last 2 seasons, he makes 1 or 2 wrong lineup decisions. Quarterback here or running back there, and you go against a team like Aaron, he's pretty efficient, so can't make those kind of mistakes.
Yeah, Avon's going to need that efficiency this week, though. We're all rooting for you, and if I can get this darn commissioner to just see it from my point of view, I'll be sending a couple guys your way.
Aaron survived the Cleveland COVID bloodbath today, so we'll see. That's all he could hope for there, because Kareem Hunt's out, so it's only Nick Chubb, and most of the offensive line and Chubb are playing, so that's all you need.
That's all I need.
Just to quote Marky Mark, he gets to keep his Chubb this week. Crazy.
Look at there, Aaron's still got a Chubb.
Too soon.
Yeah.
Do we want to put down picks on who's going to win this matchup this week?
He can. I wasn't planning on it.
Orlando Football Club.
He's got to overachieve again. He was the overachiever of the week this week. So I think he's got to do it again.
He's done it once. He can do it again.
He's got to do it again. He's got the lineup to do it. Definitely got the lineup to do it. Like, it's gotta, but he'll tell you himself. He's a boom or bust, so it's got to be a boom.
Yeah, I don't know if I could put a winner on it because like Aaron said, he can score 210. He can score like 96 or something is his low. Something. I mean, it's what Aaron shows up. I think it's Aaron's to win or lose though. I mean, I think Ian's team is pretty. We know what we're getting from him, so it's up to Aaron.
Yeah,
True.
that's a very fair point.
Yeah. Well, he said he's on the he's at the beginning of a 3-game win streak, so that should get him the championship. One down, 2 to go.
Mhm.
All right, let's move on to our next playoff matchup. Can't believe I'm going to say this. Silly Dilly is in the playoffs. Big Top Mike at number 2 against Silly Dilly at number 3. Mike, you kind of going in with some injury concerns, so why don't you start us off on your roster and tell us what you think here.
Yeah, I don't want to be too like Ian here, but I do have some injuries I'm keeping an eye on. I got potentially I have some very difficult decisions to make if everybody is out. Worst case scenario, um, I'd be looking at a lot of running backs. DJ Moore's not looking. Who knows? But I feel like I've got some okay depth. I can make up. I've got some contingency plans going on what I can do to make it work. So. Really, for me, it comes down to Eckler. He's my dude. He's got me here. He's going to get me the win. So it's avoiding the silly's just vortex of shit. You can't, and you have to at least one more time.
I think I can speak for the whole league, other than the Pooh Crew, when I say we are all behind you, Tank Top Mike. We all want you to win.
Feel free to make polls in chat. People seem to vote on them very seriously. They take the polls very seriously. So
Oh man, I can't even fathom the idea of a Pooh Crew and Silly Dilly championship. I might even just delete Sleeper from all of my devices for a good 3 months, and then just come back because I just couldn't deal with it. I wouldn't be able to deal with it.
You at least have to turn off notifications.
Golly, yeah, because I still need to do trades and such. People have my text messaging. We can do this.
The one thing in my favor for Silly is that the Bucks get a divisional matchup. We talked about it a little bit, but
It's the Saints too.
So yeah, whether or not they can shut that whole thing down again this late in the season is another question. But I'm hoping for some divisional matchup tomfoolery, as they say.
Well, Silly Dilly wouldn't know this because he just jumped on the bandwagon of Tampa Bay. But last year, Tampa Bay actually lost both games to the Saints in the regular season and then went into the playoffs and messed them up in the playoffs. So if it goes like it did last year, we've had some trouble against the Saints in the regular season. So that is not – it wouldn't be a surprise if it did go that way.
Yeah, they can. Babe's a good coach. He can game plan and they can slow things down. Maybe. Yeah, it could be an interesting game. It's the Saints defense has fallen off a little bit here in pass defense, so that's what concerns me. There is that if they don't step it up a little bit and get a good pass rush going, then Tom Brady can throw all over them. But if they can game plan it and slow it down and keep the ball on offense some, then could be one of those ugly, low-scoring division games.
If Tom Brady has to throw a touchdown, let's hope it's going to Mike Evans.
Yeah, that's true. I'm fine with that.
There you go. I don't. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, the Eckler thing, man. It's kind of like we were talking about Debo earlier and thinking one thing and then another thing happens and the Cook, you think one way and it goes the other. Eckler, he comes out, he doesn't go back in. They say then now they're saying he's okay. It's hard to know what the hell to believe
Yeah,
because
I think they're
yeah,
they're fairly open with injuries and pretty honest about it, and especially Eckler. So I guess if they're saying he's fine and could have gone back in, they were just winning by so much, so why bother?
right,
Um,
right,
I the only thing I wish is that it were a Sunday game. The Thursday game is kind of bumming me out, making it a little bit harder.
true,
But
true.
yeah, give him a few more days, I think it would have been perfectly okay. But we'll see. I'll be watching my Eckler news. So
Yeah, he seems to have he's playing through more things now than he used to. It seemed like he'd get an injury and he'd just be out for an extended period, but he's been dinged up off and on all year and just he keeps on getting back in there. I think his conditioning's gotten a little bit better. Maybe he's good athlete and just getting back in there.
mm-hmm.
I think the team as a whole has a little more to play for too. They
Right.
got a little more youth on the team, and they need Eckler to be in there as a veteran, be that veteran presence. Uh, well, they also got two fantastic veterans in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, but Eckler needs to be in there. He's the going force in that offense. He makes Herbert better, even though Herbert's fantastic regardless. But having Eckler in there to be able to dump it down or hand it off and get some positive yards, make third and short, it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as far as Dylan's concerned, he's had some guys that have been steady for him, and then he's kind of mixing some guys in, and it seems like it all comes down to who he mixes in there. I remember what was it? He had what was the guy from New Orleans that had the trash time touchdown? Was that Deontay? Oh gosh, his name's not coming to me. I don't want to mess it up. Deontay something, I think. But
Oh, Deontay Harris.
Harris,
Mm-hmm.
Harris, Harris. Yeah, I couldn't think of the last name. Yeah, so he makes moves like that that pay off, but then, um, that a lot of times when I'm looking at his lineup, I'm thinking, some Van Jefferson maybe here or there, and it's sort of like he's putting guys in there that are you can't always count on. They seem to hit um, at times, and he's had some luck there. But to me, that's your best chance is that he's got to make some of those decisions, and they don't pay off this
Mm-hmm.
time. And he goes back. He's been scoring good though. We gave him a lot of crap for his average wasn't great. His points haven't been great. His points for haven't been great, but he's put together a couple of good weeks. So
Mm-hmm.
he's
Well, just to go on that little uh, piece of knowledge, last week he had Tyler Lockett and OBJ score touchdown in the same game. So you can't get much more lucky than that.
I think
yeah.
Beckham has COVID right now, so stay away from Cooper Cup. First off, but yeah, he might not play, which would be a tough lineup decision for Silly to make then.
Yeah, Lockett's been solid. Kind of quietly putting together a more consistent kind of season. He's always been the boomer bust guy, but here lately he's been pretty consistent. So, uh,
hmm
yeah, so he's been a good one to have in there. So yeah, a lot of that. I'll tell you what, you mentioned COVID, and that's seems to be the theme for this coming week.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of, I think there's more people on the COVID list now than we've had
Oh yeah.
going even back into last season. So that could be. I hate it. It could be what decides a lot of playoff games this coming week. So we'll have to see. All right, let's move on to the Miyagi Bowl. So we got the bottom four going off and going or squaring off against each other here. Started off with number 7 against number 10, which is Goofy Jace at number 7 versus FNG at number 10. So FNG coming off of Miyagi. Goofy Jace with some tough luck, but got a pretty good squad to be in the bottom four. And we talked about those draft picks. He's got a lot to play for. What do we think about this one? Did FNG got a chance, or Goofy Jace going to start making a claim for those top picks?
Well, FNG needs Renfro, Godwin, and Mari to have a fantastic day to move into the next round. And I really think it's going to take somebody that is completely off the board that he puts in there and just has a magical game that no one saw coming. Because Goofy Jace is right. I think last week was more of more towards the mean for Goofy Jace. I think that's more about what he's going to score, anywhere between that 110, 120 range. His team is pretty. Last week was pretty much what he wants to play, besides maybe Hurts. But I think Goofy Jace has the slight advantage. But if FNG can get lucky with one of those fringe guys, he might be able to pull this out.
And that's how he got his 3 wins. He had a guy or two just absolutely blow up, and he'll steal it from you. So, yeah, I think you kind of nailed it. Goofy probably has the advantage here, but FNG could steal one.
What do we know about Lamar Jackson? Is he going to play? I have not seen the latest news on his injury.
Yeah, I guess I know he was limited today, I think, but practicing, so that's still up in the air. Yeah.
Because I think he's got what Daniel Jones would be.
Yeah, and he's
Jared Goff might be a play.
Yeah, I think
Jared Goff.
he'd have to go Goff. Yeah, because I don't think Daniel Jones. He might already be out for next week.
Man, I thought we were going to get through a whole season with nobody starting Jared Goff, but it just might happen here.
And to add some insult to injury, Jared Goff is playing Arizona.
Yeah. Who just had a tough loss on prime time. So
Yeah.
good luck.
Oh, goodness sakes. Yeah.
They're gonna light Detroit on fire.
Yeah. Well, that defense, those guys are better than they played last night, and yeah, they got a bad taste in their mouth. They're definitely gonna take it out on Detroit, I think.
I think the thing everybody's wondering about FNG's lineup is he going to start Boston Scott?
We've been asking that all season, Tank Top Mike. The NAO show has been trying to guide the new guy into a winning remedy, but he just won't play Boston Scott.
Actually,
why not?
I'm looking at this. Here's Boston Scott's scores. Ready? 9, and then 18, 4, 11, 2, 12, 0, and now they're going into this week. You start Boston Scott. That's some data analysis right there. It's some hard hitting data analysis live.
That is the hottest of hot.
Good game, bad game. Good game, bad game.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a bad game in week 13. It's time for a good game.
There it is. Yeah.
He'll have to watch the practice reports and see what's going on with Sanders, because he had he went out with an ankle, and they had to buy, so we have to see what he's going to do. But he may be a good play. I think Howard's probably still out, if I'm not mistaken. And again, watch the practice reports there, FNG, see what's going on in that backfield, because they're running the ball now. So you might have.
He's got to be better than Deontrell Hilliard.
Yeah, Deontrell.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Funny. I was talking to FNG today about Donta Foreman and Dontrell, and I was like, yeah, man, in the redraft I picked up Dontrell, saw those points, and then I realized, wait a minute, you look, with the rest of the story, as they say, you realize that Dontrell's not the guy. It's Donta Foreman. He was in there because of the game script and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think Donta Foreman is the guy, not Dontrell Hilliard. But yeah, good luck, FNG. Yeah, you're playing for the top pick, aren't you? So let's do it. Get in there and mix it up. Get that 4th win of the season.
He does have his pick, so he does have a lot to play for.
He does. That's what I'm saying. All right, let's go on to the second matchup in the Miyagi Bowl. That would be the underdogs, the number 8 seed, going up against number 9 Swamp Dick. We talked about Ricky's woes earlier. Underdogs put up a couple of stinkers in a row, so they're due for a big score. So I don't know. I think it's going to be tough for Ricky to get this one.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one for anything other than the fantasy implications. I just like when Ricky and the underdogs go against each other because it's really fun for everybody else to watch.
I gotta agree, Tank Top Mike. I think the trash talk between Evans' inaptitude of being able to trash talk and Humpty just being able to destroy him with every shot he takes is it's just good time for the NAO.
It's like catching a fish in a barrel, right?
Sometimes you just feel bad for Evans' inability to trash talk,
Yeah.
but it's so funny what Humpty does to him. He just makes him look so bad.
He just keeps setting them up, and Ricky keeps knocking them down.
I think for the matchup, I think it's the DB's game to lose. I don't think Humpty's going to do anything amazing, to be honest with you, just because of what we talked about earlier. But the DBs can either put up 80 points or 135 points, so we'll see which team they have.
Stafford was looking better last night for Ricky. Brown was oh man, he was one big catch away from a big day. I think we were watching it, were we, Shawn? And he was wide open, like 10 steps behind the defense, and he got overthrown by Huntley.
Yeah.
So he was close to a big day. So Brown can always do something, but yeah, he's definitely got some holes in the roster there that probably I'm with you. I think underdogs get this one.
I hope they bench Dak Prescott so he has a good game. That's all I need.
Yeah. You play Taysom Hill against Tampa Bay defense, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we get that. Let's get that poll going. Let's get a poll going for him so that it can make the right move. And
I'll
we'll.
definitely vote against that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think all three of us are voting Taysom Hill there. So
Definitely. Taysom Hill is the start against Tampa Bay's front seven. Definitely a start.
yeah. All right. Well, we have one more matchup in the Who Cares Bowl. We've got number 5, Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Sorry.
Hey,
It's really fresh.
you you
Sorry.
you got number 5. You're the top seed in this one, so good on you for that. Against number 6, Tough Luck Kid. It's the Who Cares Bowl, so who cares? Do you care?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I mean, I'm still going to beat you both weeks. It doesn't matter, really. It's even worse that I lost to you when I had to win, but now that I don't need to win, I'm going to destroy you both weeks, and it's not going to do me any good. So, fantastic.
sounds like you care just a little bit, though.
No, I don't care at all. I care that I'm not in the fucking playoffs. I had to play each of your asses week freaking 13, week 14. All I had to do is get one fucking win, and my team just lays a giant freaking egg and knocks me out of the freaking playoff. All right, so I guess I do care.
Well, since it's pretty obvious you don't care about that, we all saw Brandon's message today. Give you a little something to care about this time. So,
Yeah.
like we were saying, the Pro Bowl, Week 17, start thinking about who you guys want to draft as the inaugural captains. Maybe me. First pick.
Well, it's not going to be the other guy.
I got some pretty good guys. I got a top 5 tight end. I don't know if I've told you about him lately. But for real, we got the Pro Bowl coming up. Everybody read the pin.
Tank Top Mike.
Hmm?
Your tight end would not be one of them.
No,
Sorry.
that's fair. I know. That's fair. But anyway, you guys will be the inaugural captains of the first official Pro Bowl of the NAO. It seems pretty cool, actually. So read the pinned message for everybody.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think having that week 17 will be exciting. I mean, having some captains, picking your teams, that seems like a good idea. And I like the idea of going back and forth and drafting teams. Because you got to look at their whole team and see how you're going to kind of stack the team up, and maybe you got to look if they're going to keep these teams in each division. You got to look at those draft picks. I mean, FNG, he could have 3 of the top 4 picks. He legitimately could have 3 of the top 4 picks.
Yeah, and the plan is to keep the teams forever. And I'm going to give Ian some good credit here. The website's pretty cool, so it'll all be there. The Pro Bowl, and we'll keep track of the roster every year for some good bragging rights going on. But
yeah, I don't give that guy credit ever, but I will say that the website is pretty cool at this time of year when we're trying to do things like picking top team, top waiver wire pickup, that sort of thing, into the Pro Bowl, efficiency rate. Those are all really fun statistics having right there at your fingertips.
I'm looking. Huh?
Go ahead.
I've been letting you guys talk about the Pro Bowl. I didn't get to talk about it, but if you want to close the show out, that's fine, man. I mean,
no, go ahead.
I don't have to talk about the Pro Bowl. Just gonna say, I'm looking forward to it. It's just another thing that makes our league awesome, and I like the idea that we draft the teams. Everybody's got to play 2 players, so it's a little strategizing going on there between the 5 managers. So should be fun. We'll hammer out the details and get it all squared away here. But we'll do the playoffs first and get through that and crown a champion, and then we'll look forward to that Pro Bowls. Thanks to Mike and Brandon and Ian for working on it. Mike he brought the idea in originally. Ian seemed to think he did. I think they got good ganja down there in Florida, so I'll give him a pass. I'll give him a pass on that. But Mike brought the idea in. Ian ran with it, and Brandon collaborated as the co-commissioner. And I think you guys have come up with some good things. So thanks, guys, for doing that. So now, Shawn, you can close out the show.
Well, you heard it here first, y'all. The commissioner said, "Ian, you suck."